A few years ago, Seattle raised its minimum wage to $15 an hour. Liberals applauded as trained, but some of us wise ones knew better. Minimum wage is designed for entry-level, teens, people who just start in the workforce. It was never originally meant for heads of households supporting families, which may be there. And it may be a tiny percentage, but this is basically for people who want to move up. If you raise that rung, then you have to raise all the other rungs. That causes more pain for the small businesses because he has to raise everybody's salary. The end result is you take a pie that used to have 8 slices, and now you've made it 6 slices. You've eliminated 2 jobs, which is why pizza joints are closing in Washington.
Dissolved.
Good-looking guy. And smart, for as predicted, the wage hike killed over 6,300 jobs and slashed wages by $125 per month in 2016 in Washington. That's from a new study by the National Bureau of Economic Research. It's real. What the Washington Post calls, quote, bad news for liberals. No, not workers, but liberals. That's their first instinct, to worry about liberals. They're such jerks. But anyone outside the Post could have seen this coming. Let's say a shop has 8 jobs at $7.50 an hour, and you double the salaries. If the budget remains constant, you got to cut 4 workers. That's math. The media and Dems, they know math, but they pretend not to.
One constant in the last 10 years have been the Republicans in Congress who are standing in the way of raising the minimum wage.
We have got to raise the minimum wage to a living wage. If you work 40 hours a week or 50 hours a week, you should not be living in poverty.
I'm very honored to join the fight for 15. This is a living wage. We're proud of what we've done in California. I know that distinguished Senator Murray is proud of Washington State, but we want that to happen in the whole country.
Their combined age is 800. So they accept long-term hardship in return for immediate feel-good sentiment, to be part of the compassionate club, even if the club hurts others. The result, they shrink the job pool and future opportunities. After all, these jobs aren't for a person to stay put, but to give them a head start. When I was young, I knew that first crappy paycheck was temporary. Hell, my job title was temp. But somehow the Dems believe the first rung is also the last rung. And then you're the bad guy for saying no. But we know you can't get to the second rung without a first. And making that first rung too expensive only means more automation. See McDonald's. Remember the sign, no shoes, no shirt, no service? With automation, it's no salary, no benefits, no humans. You know, Kimberly, I hate having to point out that I was right. I would rather be wrong.
Your brilliance is overwhelming.
I wish you could pay more at entry-level positions and have more jobs. But math says no.
Yeah, it sounds wonderful, and we want people to do well. We want families to be able to feed their children and to pay for education, and for people to be able to leave something to their loved ones because they've been able to live the American dream in this country. It's really what we all want. But what is the best vehicle by which to achieve that? Is it by making this, mandatory minimum wage and raising it? Well, no, the economics don't prove through. The math isn't the one that supports that kind of theory. And in fact, it's really, in my opinion, I think it operates as like an unfunded mandate on small businesses. And mandates do not work. It only hurts job creation and tells businesses that want to be entrepreneurs and small businesses, hey, sorry, unless you can do this and subsidize the United States economy, you can't live your American dream.
Yeah. You know, Richard, I think the thing that people forget about is if you raise the minimum wage and in a business that matches, say, somebody on the upper level, then you've got to give everybody else a raise, because you can't have like a 16-year-old making 15 when the 16-year-old's manager is making 15. You follow me?
I follow,
Yes.
but I don't agree with your mathematics on that.
All right. You don't have to.
No,
You'd be wrong. But...
I know I don't. I know I don't. No, here's my thoughts on this. Don't get me wrong. I think that we have to do some tinkering with this, right? But I think here's what we know to be true. When you most of the people who are on minimum wage, who are the head of household, which is quite a number of Americans.
Small number.
No, it's a lot larger.
No, it's part of the whole group.
All right, and what we know is this, and so when you're taking care of your family, that extra money always goes right back into the economy. So usually what you see when you raise the minimum wage, like when George Bush did it, which was the last president to raise the minimum wage, you see an uptick in economic growth because they have less disposable. They spend all the money they get as soon as they get it because they have to make ends meet. And so we have to create a system where that's not the case. And I don't think the business model of not raising wage works on this one.
All right, Dana?
Well, I would say that the federal minimum wage is what they were talking about there, and it was minimal, but there's not that many people that work in the federal government for minimum wage. Also, the other thing I would say is that in the editorial, the Washington Post talks about that there was bad news for liberals, and you mentioned workers, but they also don't say it's bad news for the employers, because they actually showed in this study that there was an economic impact for those employers. So basically, that you have to make a decision on whether you're going to close your business or not.
Jesse?
I think Democrats always get burned by their own good intentions. You know, when you raise a minimum wage, you make poor people poorer. You pull out of Iraq, you create ISIS. You enact Obamacare, you raise premiums. You open the borders, it makes people less safe. And you expand welfare, it destroys the family, and it makes people more dependent. Democrats always throw more money at things as the solution, but what happens is more money, more problems. I forget who said that. Someone at this, I don't know. Also, you know, the Democrats don't understand basic mathematics.
Yeah.
Capitalism is not a charity case. Capitalism exists to provide goods and services to people and make profits for businesses.
Thrives with the free market.
Minimum wage is a stepping stone. You want to be able to first flip burgers and then flip houses. It's not the end result.
Very good. All right.